In the land of Uz, there lived a man named Job.
Not Oz with the yellow bricks, Uz with the sand and camels.
He was a really great guy. He honored God with everything he did.
Right? I heard that even when he stubbed his toe, he would praise God for reminding him he had feet.
Well, I've never heard that one, but it sounds like him.
Oh, and Job was also a rich man.
Yep, he was blessed with 7 sons and 3 daughters.
Oh, and tell them about all the animals. There were so many.
Right? He owned 7,000 sheep.
Whoa.
3,000 camels.
Wow.
500 yoke of oxen.
No idea what that means, but it's still awesome.
And 500 donkeys.
That's a lot of hee-haw.
He also had a lot of servants.
See? He was rich.
Yes, he was the richest man in the East. Well, one day, Satan went to visit God.
I wonder if that happens a lot.
And God asked what Satan had been up to.
And Satan told God all about traveling back and forth and up and down all over the earth.
And God asked Satan, "Have you seen my servant Job? There's no one like him on earth. He is blameless and upright, and he loves me and avoids evil."
Satan rolled his eyes like a pair of dice and said, "Well, of course Job is your greatest servant. You have blessed whatever he does, and everything around him is perfect and just increases. I wonder what would happen if you just took away all he has. I doubt he'd still love you then."
And then God said to Satan, "Okay then, everything Job has is now in your power. Just don't touch Job himself."
Oh dear, this sounds like a really bad idea.
One day, Job's sons and daughters were eating and drinking in the oldest brother's house.
Do you think they had hummus and pita? I'll bet they had hummus and pita.
A messenger came to Job and delivered the news that Sabians had attacked and stolen all the working oxen and asses.
Oh no!
And also, all the servants had been killed. The messenger was the only one who survived.
That's awful.
And then, while that servant was delivering his bad news, another messenger arrived.
Uh-oh.
And the news was dire. Apparently, 3 bands of Chaldeans raided the camels and drove them away.
They what?
And they also killed the servants, leaving only the messenger alive to deliver this news.
I just can't even.
And then, as that bad news had been delivered, another messenger arrived.
Stop! I can't bear it anymore.
And the final message was the worst of all. While Job's sons and daughters were eating together in his oldest son's home,
Hummus and pitas.
A great wind came from across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it was so powerful that the whole house fell and killed them all. The messenger was the only one lucky enough to escape.
Job rose from his seat,
And he tore his robes
shaved his head.
and threw himself onto the ground to pray to God.
What? Pray? Not yell at God? He didn't tell God off?
No. Instead, Job said, "God gave me everything. Now God takes it away. Blessed be the name of God."
Very interesting.
With everything that happened, Job didn't sin and didn't blame God.
He's a better person than I am, that's for sure.
Well, a few days later, Satan went to visit God again. God asked what Satan had been up to.
And Satan told God about walking back and forth and up and down all over the earth.
And God asked if Satan had seen Job, God's most loyal servant. "Job is still faithful to me, although his life has been ruined."
And Satan rolled his eyes like a set of wheels on a rickety bicycle. Of course Job was still faithful. Man will give up everything for his life. But if it were his bones and flesh, I'll bet he would curse you up and down the river.
And God said, "Okay then, Job's in your power. Go, just don't kill him."
Oh, I'll bet Satan loved that.
Yeah, well, Satan left God and immediately afflicted Job with a terrible skin disease.
They say it was so bad it only took a light wind to scrape him, and he had it from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head.
And Job sat in the ashes that was his life, and his wife said to him,
"Stop being so pious. Curse God already, and then let yourself die."
But Job said, You're senseless. We accept prosperity from God. Why shouldn't we accept misfortune?
How can this guy be so good?
Then 3 of Job's friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, heard about his struggles. So they traveled together to show their sympathy.
But when they saw Job, they couldn't even recognize him.
And they all cried
And tore their robes.
and threw dust on their heads.
And then they sat on the ground with Job in silence for 7 days and 7 nights.
And then, when Job finally realized that his friends weren't going to offer words of comfort, he began to curse.
But not cursing God.
No, he cursed the day. Not just the days where troubles occurred, but one specific day.
The day of his birth.
He wished he had never been born. But since that's impossible, then Job wished the day of his birth to be forever forgotten and marked as an unhappy day forever.
And then Eliphaz said, "May I speak, or will it make you mad? You've lost all your confidence in your religion. You know God is punishing you."
And Job said, "Okay then, teach me. Show me how I've sinned."
Then Bildad answered, "God never makes a mistake and is a great judge. Your children must have sinned, and now that I see God isn't going to make you well, then you are obviously a sinner too."
And Job answered, "Okay, I hear you, but I can't see how I could be more blameless. Does God destroy both the good and the evil?"
"Oh no, Job, don't say it."
And then Job declared, "I hate my life, and I openly declare God destroys the blameless and as well as the wicked."
And then, finally, Zophar put in his 2 cents.
"Now, Job, you must put away sin, cleanse your heart, and be fearless."
And Job answered,
"I know my God lives. I know God is here, but I doubt God can help me because I am not healed. And after my skin all falls off and I die, I will meet my God. But I really miss the good old days when God shone his light upon me, when I was prosperous and protected and popular, when I had all my children, when everyone everywhere regarded me with respect. Everyone who heard of me said I was a happy man and spoke of how I saved the poor and the suffering. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame, father to the needy and defender of the stranger. But now everyone sees me as a slouch. No one will listen to me. If only God would answer me and bring me to heaven. But I guess God doesn't have that kind of power."
"Oh no, he didn't."
And Job's friends refused to reply further because he kept insisting on his innocence.
And then another friend spoke up. His name was Elihu. And he was mad.
He was angry because Job wouldn't admit he had sinned. He was also angry with Job's friends. "I am young and you are old," he said, "so I held back from speaking, but clearly your age has not made you wise at all.
Oh, what a burn."
So I'm going to speak and you are going to listen," Elihu said. "I am made by God. God's breath gave me life. We all belong to God, formed with God's hands. You accuse God of picking a fight with you like an enemy, but you are wrong.
He is?
God is greater than any human being. God responds to our complaints in many ways. We just don't recognize it. God speaks in dreams, in whispers as we lie in bed. God warns us, turns us from doing wrong, and keeps us from pride and protects us. Job says he's innocent, but that God's taken his rights and made his friends call him a liar. But God does no wrong. God is right with justice. Job, you speak out of ignorance. You are wicked with your words. You've added rebellion to your sin. You show no respect and you sound like a fool. Pay close attention, Job. Stop and consider the wonderful miracle of God. And even though God is just and righteous, God does not destroy us."
And then God spoke up.
God addressed Job's 3 older friends.
They think they're so smart.
"Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorance?"
And then God spoke to Job.
"Who are you to question my wisdom? Brace yourself because I have some questions for you."
Somebody's in trouble.
Were you there when I created the earth? You must know who made all major decisions about it.
It was God, right?
Who can change a storm, or charge a storm, or have all creatures mount up when called?
God again.
Who commands the morning to appear and makes daylight spread across the earth?
I know.
Do you know where the gates of death are? Where light comes from? Where darkness goes?
This is getting heavy.
Were you born before all was created? Are you so very experienced? Can you direct the seasons? Can you map the universe and know all its laws?
I'm sorry.
And God spoke with the hushed tone of an angry parent. Do you still want to challenge me? Do you still want to be the critic with no answers?
And Job was humbled.
And he covered his mouth with his hand.
And confessed his arrogance.
And repented.
Job admitted that God was almighty and the charge of all things.
And so God, in his wisdom, gave back to Job
twice as much as he had before.
14,000 sheep.
Whoa.
6,000 camels.
That's 12,000 humps.
1,000 yoke of oxen.
Does that have something to do with eggs?
And 1,000 donkeys.
And God blessed the last part of Job's life with 7 sons and 3 daughters.
And a life that lasted 140 years.